Hello. Today I wanted to preach something, that's not very easy to preach, but it needs to be preached because, this situation keeps happening out there in public. You'll see on the news channels, on TV, and on the internet. So what I'm preaching today is what are behind mass shootings in public. And the government and the politicians, they don't fully know why this keeps happening. Why does this keep happening? And they go about things the wrong way, and then mass shootings still happen in public. So, what is the source of these mass shootings? Well, let me tell you that the gun is not the problem because it is a heart problem. And then you have to ask, why is there a heart problem? And that's because there's a lot of things out there that are very worldly or very, very demonic and satanic that corrupt children or corrupt young adults to do what they're doing that is not right. It's satanic. It's insanity. What's going on out there in public. And a lot of it has to do with that people are demon possessed and oppressed. So, you know, really, it's not the gun problem, like I said before. It's the video game stores is the problem, and that's like GameStop, Steam, PlayStation Store, Xbox, Microsoft Store, and etc. So, like at GameStop, there's more evil video games than good video games, and you'll find a lot of young teenagers or children. Their parents let them play those video games. Jesus Christ said in Matthew 24, what do parents that don't raise their children right in the way of the Lord with the Bible? So they'll go, go get their Call of Duty, or they'll get their Grand Theft Auto, or they'll go get in their Need for Speed. Most want to do street racing. They'll go get their Halo, and they'll practice, combat. It's like actual combat training, and they'll go and they'll take that the wrong way because they got a heart problem because they could a lot of them could be lost. A lot of children could be lost, and they get their heads, all this bad stuff in their heads and their hearts and minds, with all this violence and all this stuff that's on TV, like the movie stores, like Netflix, Tubi TV, Pluto TV, and etc. They'll get like The Walking Dead, or they'll get into evil movies like the Terminator, or they'll get into evil movies like Rambo, and they'll go take that seriously, take it the wrong way, and they'll go do these mass shootings in public, like at schools or movie theaters or colleges or out there in a grocery store or something. Just uh, you know, evil movie theaters. What's coming out of Hollywood and Orlando? Just that's what's the problem is what's behind corrupting the hearts of young people and young teenagers is that they get into the wrong things that's corrupting their hearts instead of reading the Bible like they need to be doing. So I'd like to type that out though, and we'll just type it over here. Halo, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, and make God hold these video game companies accountable for what they're putting out there, and little children are playing and teenagers are playing, and make God hold accountable those parents that are letting them play those things. And it's not worth the money. It's not worth their time to play this stuff. It make more use of their time. They read the Bible and they raise their children in a godly way and take them to churches that believe faith works are saved. That's better than not being a church that is not a sound church that needs the basic plan of salvation to get to heaven. So and then you have young people. They're too young. They're under 20 years old. And they're under 20 years old and they're doing this stuff, like 16-year-olds, even a 14-year-old or something, doing a mass school shooting. And, they might die in a firefight with the police. And then, they're too young to go to hell because they're like teenagers. They're not at the age of accountability, and they may end up in heaven. There, I think God made a prison to put them in that in heaven, in the third heaven, and they God they have to sit down with Jesus Christ, have a talk with God Himself to why they're doing this stuff, and they're wondering, people up in heaven wondering why are these kind of teenagers ending up in heaven? Well, this is why that this is happening because the Torah says, a minor is under 20 years old in the Torah, so you know, so that's the problem. It's young teenagers, 16 years old, 14 years old. That's I think one of the youngest ages, 14 years old, doing a school shooting, or a 16-year-old doing a school shooting because they're playing too much Call of Duty, Halo, Grand Theft Auto. I remember there was one Call of Duty, what they call a game that don't really, it's not really like a game. It's like a crime combat simulator where they had a campaign story mission where they went into an airport and did a shooting there as acting like terrorists. So the video game stores making these video games need to be held accountable for these mass shootings for putting that stuff out there. So you see, it ain't the gun that's the problem; it's the people with heart problem. They're getting corrupted with these video games and movies, and in Hollywood and Orlando. And it also could be evil religious fake scriptures like the Quran. I remember there was this one young person. They were a Muslim extremist. I'm not saying all the Muslims are extremists, but there are Muslim extremists out there that are terrorists. They get involved with ISIS, or they get involved with Al Qaeda, and Taliban, or Jamal Fuqa, Muslims of America, and they'll go do a shooting in a grocery store. I remember that with Muslim terrorists or extremists. He had an AK-47. He just went into a grocery store and started shooting people. Because that crane, it ain't no better than say Halo, Call of Duty, or Grand Theft Auto. Promoting jihad and violence and terrorism. So that's just another problem. Is like the crane's a problem. It's just fake scripts like the crane telling young people to go do these things, these mass shootings in public. And you know what? Gun control is not the answer to that problem either. Because recently there was a shooting, a gun mass shooting over in Australia, and they have gun control over there, and they still had a mass shooting. So that's not going to stop the shooting. Really, what's going to stop them are good people with a gun. That but having disarming good people with a gun, but the evil people, the criminals are going to still have guns because they're not going to abide by gun control laws. No, that's not the answer. The answer is they need to shut down these video game stores and tell them to stop making these new video games, making evil movies at Hollywood and Orlando, what's on Netflix or Tubi TV or Pluto, or how Netflix said that Jesus Christ was gay and homosexual. That's not going to help reduce mass shootings because what the evil is on Netflix. Make got hold of all these video game companies and video game stores and Orlando evil movie directors in Hollywood and Orlando and Muhammad that wrote this Quran and all this behind mass shootings and terrorism and terrorist attacks. May Jesus Christ hold them accountable. Uh, these people account for making this stuff that corrupts the heart and minds of young people to do these mass shootings. So I thought I'd make this sermon about what's behind these mass shootings. Demon possessed and oppressed people are. People are demon possessed. Demons are behind this. Fallen angels are behind this. I remember there's this 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz in Florida. He did a mass shooting at a school, and he said a demon in his head told him to go do it, kill, steal, and burn. Well, in the Shepherd Hermas book too, there was the mind control of Satan in there, where Hermas said, the Apostle Hermas said that demons can't put thoughts in your head, temptation thoughts in your mind. You have a devil in your soul whispering in your head to do evil stuff. So that is in the Shepherd Hermas. So if churches and Bible translation throughout the Shepherd Hermas, they would know what the source of this spiritual warfare and temptation and that devil on the shoulder with a pitchfork telling young people to go do these school shootings and mass shootings and movie theater shootings like at the Dark Knight. There was a mass shooting at the Dark Knight Rises with Batman. So is Batman suitable for children? I don't think it is. So that's just more violence that little children don't need to have nothing to do because that's what's also behind mass shootings. It's like Batman and and Superman or an Injustice Justice League. Just it's not those things are not suitable for children. They need to grow up more, and they need to pull out their Bibles and read them and get a godly upraising with the way of the Lord, with the way of the Bible, with getting saved. They need to get saved, being filled with Jesus Christ, and they need to get devils cast out of these people that keep doing mass shootings that are young people or a little over 20 years old. Not really that, just young people that are they have heart problems. They're broken people. They have their mind is corrupted with a carnal nature, with demon possessed minds under mind control to fallen angels. That's all demon possessed oppression works. So that's what's out behind these mass shootings. It's not the gun is the problem. I've even seen domestic terrorism or criminal activity with a knife. They might kill someone at a school with a knife. So it's not just the gun or the knife that's the problem. It's the people that are prone. The heart and mind. The heart has a problem, and this is what's corrupting the heart. All this stuff that we have mentioned in this sermon. So I hope that helps you understand what mass shooting. There's most likely going to be more in the future. So if you live in a place where you can defend yourself, and you're a good guy with a gun, you've been raised with the Bible, you're in Christ, you're saved. Defend yourself. In your house, so you don't have to. You know, go through this. My mass shootings near a school. That was me. I had a mass shooting near a school I lived. I live near a school, so I take that seriously. I'm on guard with that. With these school shootings. If you live near a school system, I would definitely be on guard and get stuff to defend yourself with, weapons to defend yourself with, as long as you're a good person. Okay, if you're lost and don't know Christ and you have a heart problem, you don't need to have a gun or knives or swords or whatever or weapons. You're gonna go and hurt people, and killing people. So that's what I have to say in this sermon. God, I hope this will help you understand what's behind these mass shootings in public. God bless and have a good day.